I just mentioned this yesterday in passing, that it's clear that although Noach himself, as a human being, is a continuation of Adam in terms of his DNA, but in terms of his innate significance on in the spiritual realm, Noach is the beginning of a new existence. Whatever preceded Noach has no relevance to what Noach is going forward. Meaning, just as Adam is the father of mankind, in terms of the objective of existence, identically Noach is the father of mankind post-Great Flood in terms of the objective of existence. And from this parsha, we see that Noach, every aspect of Noach's life, going from the time that he left the Teva forward, and even during the Great Flood, it's a replica of creation and every aspect of it. For instance, we had mentioned that, and it mentions it in this week's parsha, that what was the state of affairs at the very beginning of existence? The Torah goes and describes it in detail. Not that we understand exactly what it means, but the Torah tells us that initially the world was tohu vavohu. The world was unformed, chaotic. Choshech al pnei som. There was darkness over the deep water. Ruach Elokim rachev al pnei hamayim. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the water. That was the only thing that existed in the world at that time. During the Great Flood, all the luminaries ceased to function. The world was covered with water. And nothing existed outside of the ark except Hashem. As we'll show in a moment, the ark itself was a self-contained location that was considered non-existence. Noach, emerging from the Teva after the Great Flood, when the world began to come back to itself, when God said he could leave, at that moment, that was the beginning of a new existence. The Torah tells us that the floodwaters, to what degree did they rise? They rose 15 amos above the highest mountain peak. It's not just the mountain peaks were covered. The Torah gives us the exact measure to what degree they rose. 15 amos above the highest mountain peak. And we've spoken many times that the number 7 always signifies the natural order, because that was creation. And anything which surpasses 7 immediately is 8, that's called supernatural. That's not the physical existence. Like we speak about Shavuos, was on the 50th day. That's when God gave the Torah to Klal Yisrael. This is the Maral of Prague points this out. It's 50 signifies the number 8 because it comes after the 7. 7 times 7, 50. That's when the Torah is given Klal Yisrael to designate the day as a day which surpasses, which transcends the physical existence. The water rose 15 amos above the highest mountain peak. That means it was beyond. So you ask, what was it, 8 amos? What was it, 15? I don't know. But factually speaking, it was one above the 7 in terms of 15. Therefore, now we find that Noach, when he sent out the raven and then he sent out the dove, after the mountain peaks were seen, were noticed, how many days did he wait before he sent out the raven? He waited 40 days. And after 40 days, there was a possibility to consider that the world came back to itself. So the question is, why 40? Once the mountain peaks were seen, that was the beginning. That's the equivalent of conception. From conception to life is how many days? That's 40 days. 40 days is always that number 40. So he waited. There wasn't anything to consider before 40. So only after 40 days did he send out the raven, because then there's a possibility that the world has come back to itself. We're back to the natural order. Because once you see the mountain peak, that's already a representation of the beginning of existence. Now the question is, what's going to happen in these 40 days? After 40 days, which is conception, has the world come back to itself or not? That's why he waited that amount of time. The Rabbeinu Bachi points out, how many children did Adam have? He had 3 sons. He had Cain, Hevel, and Chase. One was a tzaddik, one was a rasha, and one was middle of the road son. Noach had 3 sons, Shem, Chom, and Yefes. Shem was the tzaddik, Yefes was the middle of the road son, and Chom was the rasha. He was the one who sodomized and castrated his father. And he's the one who cohabited in the ark where cohabitation was not permitted. That was Chom. Chom was considered representation of evil. The day Noach was created, on that day, based on the Pasuk Tilim, Noach had brought korbanos, sacrifices. The day that Noach came out of the Teva, which was the emergence of existence, Noach brought of the kosher species, of every one of them, he brought sacrifices. So we see this is a parallel with creation. If the existence going forward is not a continuum, therefore we find, as Hashem had said initially, Pru Revu Umilus Haaretz, be fruitful and multiply and fill the land, as it was said to Noach and to Adam and creation, that exact bracha was given to Noach. Pru Revu Umilus Haaretz. Uru Du B'Dgasayom. It was literally a replication of the originally. But if this is now this is a continuation, what does Hashem have to? Hashem already blessed existence, that the animals, the species, they should procreate and they should multiply to fill the earth. So we see over here everything is paralleled, is replicated, only because Noach is not a continuation of Adam, but rather Noach is the beginning, is the father of existence, and it's considered the world has taken on a new dimension of value besides the other before they lived till 700, 800, 900 years after Noach, except he personally and Shem lived exceptionally long. But otherwise, the average age span was 70 years, was not 800 years, 700 years. Didn't exist any longer. Again, because this is a new existence. The dimension of mankind, giants, or before the great flood, meat was not permitted. Only the vegetation of the earth. After the great flood, it's a new era, it's a new reality. As a result of that, meat is permitted for man. Man is permitted to kill the animal for meat consumption. These are the parallels. So we see that Noach, every aspect of Adam's existence is being replicated because Noach is the beginning of a new existence rather than a continuation of the original existence. Besides, I mentioned that the human being is called Ben Noach. Ben Noach, a Noahide. A human being is not called Ben Adam. Ben Adam is like a human being. But in terms of the classification of the status regarding the laws, the spirituality and the function, the purpose, it's Ben Noach. But why is it called Ben Adam? If Noach himself is a grandson, 10 generations from Adam to Noach should be Ben Adam. Why is it Ben Noach? The answer is because Noach is the father of mankind, because the beginning, Noach emerging from the Teva, from the ark, is the beginning of a new existence. And the time the mountain peaks were seen, he waited 40 days before he sent out the raven. So we mentioned because 40 is from the time of conception to life is 40. So there wasn't even consideration that they were ready to leave unless 40 days passed. But how did Noach know to take the initiative to send out the raven? How do you know? You want to become wealthy and you have to take initiative. What do? You stand on your head and you dance on your hands. Is that an initiative? Evidently, Noach understood that initiative maybe will spur on the energies which are needed to expedite the leaving of the table. That's what he believed. But what was the indicator? Initially, how did he know this? How did he even know to look out the window? When he was told to build that table, he was told to put a tzoar. Tzoar is a window in the table. The ark had two things, had an entrance with all the animals and the people went through, and there was a window. If the luminaries are not functioning for a year, what do you need a window for? Instead, the light's not coming in. There's no light. But yet, he was told to put a window in that table. So then he understood that window was not as an exit, but rather it's for something else. So he understood that window represent taking initiative. And he took initiative. The initiative was that he sent out the bird, and then he went after 40 days. That was the initiative. He understood by doing that, that would actually activate the forces, the energies that will actually maybe expedite the leaving of the teva sooner. Because as I mentioned, from conception to life is a 40-day period. That's what it's thinking. Because there's a question, what exactly illuminated the teva for that period of the year? I mean, you can't exist in darkness. How did you see? So one opinion is that there was a certain diamond or stone which gave off light, and that light illuminated the whole table. That's how they had light. That's how Noach was able to function, and the people and everything was able to be dealt with in the table. Because if the light's not coming in from outside, where's the light? It emanated from the stone gave off this light, and that's how it was illuminated. So if that's the case, what do we need a window? The window's not for light. And not only that, I mean, it's just a question. It says that he saw the mountain peaks, and from the mountain peaks, he waited 40 days. But outside the table, the luminaries were not functioning for a year. When you read the parsha, so how do you see the mountain peaks? If everything outside is pitch black, there's not even a trace of light, no level of illumination. So I'm not sure. Everybody have a good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. Whoever's on for the Yomi, Sunday, 9 o'clock, we have we're doing Lech Lecha and the understanding Avraham Avinu. It's a separate share. That's 9 to 10, and Daf Yomi on Sundays at 11 o'clock, 11 to 12. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Everybody be well. Baruch, he changed the clock.
Rabbi, good Shabbos.
Saturday night?
Motzei Shabbos.
Motzei Shabbos, okay. So time-wise, we're getting closer. Okay. Okay, have a good Shabbos. Take care.
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Yeah, okay.